All right, welcome on board, everybody. So we're excited to jump into the CIS controls today. CIS stands for the Center for Internet Security Control. It really provides most organizations with a prioritized, actionable roadmap to improve their overall security posture. That's really what it is. It has 18 critical security controls in total. So let me quickly start with you. Let me ask you a question real quick, and feel free to type it. If I ask you how many controls how many critical controls does CIS comprise of? How many would you tell me? Let's start the first quiz. All right, let's see what we got. Awesome. 18. Okay, okay. We are killing it already. Now, that's not going to count, but you're going to say it in a bit. All right, let's get started. Okay, so why does CIS control matter? And overall, it's one of those effective cybersecurity strategy out there in the space of cyber in general. And the reason is because it provides this systematic approach to helping us reduce risk in real time. That's really the whole thing. And it has an evolving threat intelligence mechanism. Now, one thing you remember about most of these frameworks out there is that there's always revision. So you might see every 2, 3 years, they might make some slight changes. It is by design. And the reason they do that is because, let's think for a second. Let me ask you guys a question. Tell me two things that you've noticed have changed dramatically in the last 3 years in terms of cooperation. There are two, three things that we can all agree has kind of shifted the whole world, really. Thank you, Max. Love it. Isbon, thank you, Chris. Awesome. Absolutely, we can agree with that. AI has been one of our biggest changing factor. Let's face it, all of us are afraid. Am I going to lose my job? There are AI agents everywhere. Tell me another thing that kind of changed the whole landscape of working. I like that. Privacy, risk management, migration to the cloud. Cloud also is a big one. People are talking about cloud all the time now. Everybody's migration towards the cloud. AI is a big concern. Tell me one more thing. I love that, Max. Max, you're the man. Max is awesome. Work from home, remote workforce. So it means right now, the whole world right now, we have to make provision to say, what is our strategy to mitigate the risk of working from home? Yes, COVID came, it became mainstream, fine. But after that, also, a lot of people started saying, okay, fine, COVID came, we are used to working from home. Can we make it hybrid? Okay, we have to keep all the commercial real estate still working. Fine. But there's still element now, especially with our new generation, Gen Z, Gen X, right? They are more, they want flexibility. And they should, because this is their generation that witnessed one of the worst crises in our history, right? COVID. This is a generation of young folks that had to figure and adjust for 4 years, something that none of us had ever experienced, right? So I can understand that. So they got used to that process. So their perspective is different. So you, as a leader, in leadership, whatever angle, most people are making provision to accommodate that because they're going to be the workforce of tomorrow. So you might be sentimental and say, well, but the truth is that you got to make provision for this younger generation, right? And because they're going to be the workforce of tomorrow, so you got to make effective solutions. So remote work or work from home has become part of our lives now. It's not going to be totally dismissed. Even with the hybrid model, there will always be element of work from home. That's what I believe. And of course, with the CIS control, it helps us to reduce cyber risk because it will have covered most of those areas of concern. It helps us to be in compliance with the regulators out there. It helps us to continuously address emerging threats, different attack vectors all over the world. So if AI is a new threat, work from home is a new threat. Another big threat we almost forgot to mention, was the supply chain threat. Now, somebody's asking me, what the heck is the supply chain threat? Let's think for a second. When COVID hit, one of the biggest issues most of my big clients had was supply chain threat. Top on the list was a lot of newer version of servers, infrastructure could not be bought, or they were ordered but they could not get it supply. The challenge is, imagine you requesting for newer update of certain infrastructure because of security enhancement that was made. Now, your old system or legacy system is going to be vulnerable because it's not designed for certain threats, right? So you can imagine the kind of potential risk that brings to an organization. Another thing around supply chain, let's think for a second. If you all remember I think last year, let me ask you, can you all tell me one of the most significant supply chain issue we noticed last year? Let me give you a clue. There was a state and a guerrilla group. The state over time implanted chips into walkie-talkies of the supply chain of this guerrilla group, right? And over time there was crisis between both, and suddenly you started seeing explosives, which was installed in these chips. This has been done months way ahead. Nobody knew, right? So everybody was afraid, oh my God, I don't want to use my laptop because it's probably infected with some of these devices, right? So the question is, if that could happen to a group, what stop it from happening at the state level though? Let's think for a second. Because it means, are you sure the computer you're using right now is not already reconfigured to be a potential threat to you if there was crisis? None of us know, right? But that's the power of supply chain risk also. Because even to the manufacturer level, for those of us in DoD work in the past or any kind of critical infrastructure, these are things we have to think about as part of our thought process because any one of those devices can be compromised, so it's a big deal and a big risk. Then also, CIS provide clear, actionable guidance. Today, you'll be surprised you guys are going to work on reports. You're going to use amazing tools, AI, assessment tools, so a lot of fun stuff. So you see it in a bit, okay? All right, let's move on. First quiz, let's go. What is the main goal of the CIS control? What is the main goal? At the end of the day, what's the main goal of the CIS control? If you are just joining, welcome. If you don't mind, just log on to the use your code to log on to this pin real quick. You can see here 623817. Feel free to join us. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, reduce cyber risk. Thank you. Wow. Oh boy, this is awesome. You guys all got it. Okay. All right, let's keep moving. Awesome. Another one. True or false? CIA controls are static and never change. They are always there. It's been the same way for the last 20 years. It doesn't change. That's what you think. If you're just joining, feel free to. Excellent. All right. Another question. CIS controls are only for large organizations. They are designed for just the large organization only. Excellent, false. Okay. So we have a leader right now. Okay. Yak is really whooping us, followed by Jules, then Topia. Let's go. All right. Cool. Now it's always fun to see this, the way this is going to be changing. So even though Yak is leading right now, don't be fooled. I won't be surprised if Yak, I'm not jinxing you, Jax. I hope you win, but the leaderboard changes all the time. All right, let's go. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Thank you, Yak, Jules, Topia. Awesome, awesome. Let's keep moving. All right, history and evolution of CIS. Like I mentioned before, most of these controls always change. As there's an enhancement, they make changes. So they started 2008. That's almost how many years ago now? 17 years ago. You can imagine. 2015, there was the adoption. 1819, there was version 7, 2021, version 8 plus. So you can see there's always going to be enhancement as part of the process in general. Started in 2008, okay? All right, quiz, quick one. What year was the first CIS control first created? What year was it first created? I'm such a nice examiner. I'll give you the answer and hopefully you are paying attention. Excellent. Oh, eight. Oh, eight. That's right. That's right. Okay, let's talk about the structure of CIS. Okay, it's a set of guideline and control. Typically, it has 18 top level controls, and you all will see what I mean by top level controls, right? Then it has sub controls, right? 18 top controls, then sub controls. So I'll give an example. If I tell you asset management, right? It's a top control. I might break it down into specific and say asset inventory. You manage an asset. Is there a way you develop inventory for your asset? And when we say asset, don't overthink it. You all have assets with you right now, your digital assets, your hardware, your software. Those are the assets most organizations care about. That's really what we care about, right? Then sub controls will be the 153. Then we have what we call implementation group. The group is the way we say first tier, second tier, third tier. The first tier is just saying, okay, well, baseline, not a lot of requirements, basic check. Second tier would get a little bit much more robust in terms of expectation. By the third tier, we're now saying, okay, this is more advanced. So we want you to do much more detailed security control. And I can give you a practical example. If you tell me you're working with Department of Defense and you're working on a nuclear submarine, then I would expect you to have the most advanced security controls. If you tell me that, well, I'm a startup, I just started doing some bootstrap, not a big deal, nothing much, then I'll probably say, okay, just start with the baseline security controls in general. So that's the whole concept of it, but we'll get into the details in a bit. Some of the domains in CIS controls, you can tell asset management. Ladies and gentlemen, don't overthink it. I'm just saying, how do we manage our hardware, our software, and our data? Those are your assets, right? We're talking about vulnerability management. Okay, for all my assets, including your laptop, your desktop, how do we track them for potential weakness? So we scan. Most of you in your house, your homes, you would you may not notice it, but many times you realize that it has antiviruses that runs automatically. You're using McAfee, nothing, Kaspersky, whatever you use, it doesn't matter. But the point is that at the back end, they will be scanning continuously for virus. Access management, in simple terms, all of us before we logged in tonight, we checked our access. I'm saying, how do we manage access? Access management, we are saying, what access do I have? What roles do I have? You know, what kind of user am I before I was granted access to my computer? Data protection, we can all agree at the end of the day, every one of our data, especially critical information that has to do with regulation. If you're in healthcare, we have PHI, right? PHI, protected health information. So we're talking about records that cannot be shared with outsiders. If you're in the financial industry, we have your PII also. So there are a lot of documents that we can't afford to be compromised because it can impact organization, people, and it can expose you to regulatory issues. And some of their fines, they don't play games. My GDPR, my European folks, you can tell, they don't play games. GDPR will come after you like a hawk. Pipeda in Canada, they will chew you silly. We have the folks in Brazil, same thing. US, we chew you, depends on the location, right? If it's not HIPAA, states control most of those privacy and regulatory requirements for data most times. So, state of Washington is strict. Colorado, I think Texas have some new laws. CCPA, California, those guys don't play games. I think they are the most strict in the states, at least. So they don't play games. They're going to come after you big time. So there is a lot of incentive to do it right, or else the impact can be devastating for any organization, right? So it's a big deal. So we take it serious, very big deal. All right, let's talk about this real quick. Implementation hygiene in general. So we have implementation group one. The group one gets into the basic hygiene of your cyber environment. And when I say hygiene, it means the essentials, the baseline essentials that we think you should just focus on, the bare minimum that we think you should have. baseline minimal for your organization. That's what we're talking about. So if we talk about if you hear the word IG1, it's just the implementation group one. There are three of them. IG1, group one, group two, group three. Group one is the baseline, hygiene in general. Group two gets into enhanced security. We are saying, okay, first one is baseline and security. Second one, we are saying, okay, let's make sure we can also protect. How do you handle sensitive information in your organization also? So we're talking about how do we monitor the network. So some of you in your home network, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, don't overthink this. Go back home, wherever you are right now. Before you logged in, you're on a network. Imagine that network, there was no way we can monitor it. If there was an attack, there's no way we can know. If there's a breach, there's no way we can know. So we are saying, hey, dude, at the end of the day, can we have a way to kind of, give me some help? Let's see if we can monitor the network, right? The other thing is that we want to make sure there's data protection at the baseline. Then we are talking about, is there a good authentication control? Meaning, if you're logging in, does it require us to make sure we have strong password? Sometimes, as the cyber administrator, want to make sure you also have multi-factor authentication enabled, whereby you can have triggered MFA, you know, and sometimes we are using even biometric, whatever the mechanism to make your authentication strong, we would adopt it. Then also a regular security test and check and assessment within your environment is what is required at the implementation group two in general. So let's take it again. Base one is just focus on basic hygiene for your organization, baseline. Base two, we're saying data protection, monitoring your network, making sure your access control is appropriate, and continuously test and monitor also in general. Then let's go to the third one. The third one is where it gets a little bit tricky. Anytime we think of the third one in your mind, you're going to think of critical infrastructure. We are thinking in our mind, okay, now this is where it gets crazy. We're talking of your nuclear grid, your power line, your transportation, your chemical plants. So now it's getting serious. This is serious stuff, right? So we know these are more sophisticated, your financial institution, defense, healthcare, government agencies. So naturally, these are more robust and would expect much more detailed security controls in general. Okay. So just put that in mind. All right, let's do a quick one. Which implementation group is for advanced security? We have the first group, second group, third group. Which of them is for advanced security? Let's go. Implementation group one, two, three, or four. Maybe some of you found four. Let's see what you got. Which of them is much more for advanced security in general? Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Love it. Okay. So you can tell it's three. I know some of us just say, you know what the heck? I'm gonna guess one. Okay, awesome. All right, this is the very interesting part of it. Let's see who the winner is right now. Let's see. Who man. I told you all that. Let's see. You all were gonna be changing up and down. Man, whoever the top three winners are, they surely deserve it because it's always like that. This is crazy. It's gonna be back and forth. Ayi is winning right now. Yak is second place. Jules, again, I'm not getting too excited because this thing changes all the time. Okay. All right. Good job. My three winners so far. All right. Let's go. Let's keep going. If you're just joining, welcome on board. You can take a quick pin and check the Kahoot. The pin is 623817. And feel free to just join us also. You know what? Let me just quickly copy it and send also to, let me quickly send it to the groups. Then, in case you don't have it on the chat here, I just pasted the link again. Feel free to go ahead and let me share the link also in the group. Let's see if you guys. So in case you don't have, for some of you that don't have access to, all right, let me send that. Give me a second so that you all can have access to it in the group also. Actually, I went through. We try it again. Okay. So if you don't have access to it on the Zoom, I'm going to send it to the general internship link again so that you all can have access to it if you want to join real quick. I'm going to send that right now. Take advantage of it. Let's say I send it to the group. So for those of you that don't have access, maybe you're driving or well, don't drive and don't join Kahoot while driving, please. But in case you're at the kids' game and you just want to listen and still be part of it, you can pick it up from the WhatsApp group. I just sent it to you all. So you should have access to it now on the WhatsApp group. And hopefully that helps. Okay. So, all right. So in case you could not join before, it's on the group now. So you can have more people join. Okay. Let's go back real quick. Let's go back. Make sure you participate. Just it's okay even if you don't get the answer right, but it helps with retention. At least you kind of remember some of these things. Okay. All right. Let's jump back into this real quick, everybody. All right. Cool. 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 Okay. Let's talk about this real quick. One thing I'll challenge you, even high, I'll be transparent. I mean, come on now. We all have a life. I'm not going to remember, oh, this is control one. Oh, this is control two, right? However, that's what it is, right? You don't need to remember all this. That, oh, well, what's control one? What's control two? What's control three? No, that's not the goal. Understand the topic, right? Control one in CIS is inventory and control of hardware. That's what it is, right? But it's not like I'm thinking all around my day and saying, oh, I know control one. Oh, I know control two. I know control three. No, that's not, nobody's going to ask you that. But that's what it is, right? So know the title. I know inventory management. So in your mind, you know what that is, right? But you can still know that, well, control one is inventory management and hardware assets. Just know that part. That's the most important piece of it. And what does it really state at the end of the day is focus on making sure that we understand there should be comprehensive inventory of your devices and assets. Think about it for a second. God forbid, if a burglar comes to your house today, guess what? And the cops come in, they're going to ask you, ma'am, sir, what was taken? Imagine you and I say, I have no idea, but I think they stole everything. Okay, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Can you tell us what was, can you take time to look at the inventory of what you have? Imagine you telling the cops, I don't even know what I have in my house. They would respectfully just tell you, call your relatives to probably help you refresh your brain, right? But you can't say there is a threat to your organization if you don't even know what assets you have. So the same thing. So asset management, and when we talk about asset here, we're talking about softwares, your hardware, your data, right? In your mind, that's the key thing you're thinking about. So we do what we call asset discovery, whereby we scan your organization, the network, to discover what are the assets you have in the first place. You check for unauthorized device. A lot of organizations have devices that are not authorized. People just use, especially in the olden days, they see an open port, they just use their cable to log in there. And we use some tools to sniff around to see if somebody is logging in through an open port. Then asset management database, we're just making sure we can have a database of all our assets. Of course, in the database, you would also tell us who owns the data, who owns the hardware or software, where their locations are, their the IP address of whatever assets I have also, if it's hardware. So those are the things you need to capture in real time also. Okay. Question. What is the main focus of Control One? I told you all, I make it so easy. Let's see whether you guys will help me here. You know. All right, let's see. What is the main focus of Control One? Ha ha ha. Excellent. Inventory of hardware. That's what it is. All right, let's jump to Control Two. Inventory and control of software assets. We're talking about the software inventory, a list of all your licensed software, your software whitelisted, the ones that you only allow authorized software to be executed within your system. Then you want to monitor your software usage monitoring, meaning you're making sure you understand the pattern of usage of your software, especially from the performance point of view. That's a big one also, and many times also removing unused softwares. Many times those unused softwares can potentially be backdoors to your network, meaning somebody can go to the back end through your operating system, through your database, to access information or data from your organization too. So it's better you just disable or remove any unused softwares. That's the recommendation in general. Okay. All right. Let's see. What is the purpose? You know what? Uh, Sorry guys, I messed this up. I clicked this screen twice, but it's okay. All right. Okay. 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 Let me see if I can fix this. Let me go back 1 second. All right. So this is where we were before, but it's okay. All right. Let's go about this. Control three is vulnerability management. We're just saying internally also we should have a process in which we automatically scan for vulnerability within your organization, right? That's the main thing there. So we should have a way to continuously monitor your environment for potential weakness as a whole. All right. So that's a big one we have to keep doing. All right. Let's go to all right. Control four. Control four focuses on use of administrative privilege. Ladies and gentlemen, all this is saying is we want to know people that have escalated access in your organization. So admin user will be someone that can likely add a user to your system. They can assign roles to your system. They can typically do a lot of elevated things in your organization. So they are the most critical. A regular user, you don't really care, to be honest. Yes, you want to see what they're doing, if it's dangerous, but you don't care as much as the administrative users. So people that have admin access are typically very critical to your business. So you're thinking and saying, okay, wait a minute, these are the guys that can really arm us as an organization in general. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. Secure configuration of hardware and software. One of the things that is constantly happening a lot is you buy hardware or software, but you don't take the time to implement strong process around securing those hardwares or softwares. In the past, maybe not as much now, those of us that used to be in a world of enterprise resource planning like SAP, Oracle Financials, Workday, all these tools, every vendor knew the default username and password when you get those instances into your environment. So it was the same thing for all the vendors. So naturally, by default, you have to always change that password because there are thousands of vendors all over the world. So you need to change it. So some key step would be what are your standard and procedure within your organization in terms of securing your softwares or your hardware? It's a big deal, right? So you go through that process, you monitor for the configuration. If there's a changes in your configuration for your hardwares or your softwares, very critical. Okay. So the key is always build a process and system to ensure that at least you have guidelines on what to look for once you buy these softwares or hardwares in your organization. Okay. So that's controls five. Control six is, let's keep it simple. We are saying analysis of your logs. And this is simply saying, okay, at the end of the day, maintenance monitoring of and analysis of audit logs. So everything you do in your system, their logs, right? Window log, audit log, whatever logs within your environment. The question is that, is it being analyzed? And is there a pattern? Because the only way your systems and software can figure this out is there are behavioral tools, analytic tools built in to check the pattern of the log. Example, if you work 8 to 5 and suddenly the system sees a pattern of you logging in 6 p.m., then weekend, it's going to prompt an alert, probably lock your access, send a message to your manager, because that looks, it's an abnormal behavior, right? Based on your pattern of work. So that can trigger investigation. Or suddenly you start downloading large files, right? So your organization would notice that, oh, wait a minute, okay, the log will show that, okay, there's a user ID that is downloading large files. Your manager will just call you and say, hey, dude, hey, John, Mary, Akin, Ola, are you working on X project? You say, no. Okay. Huh. Um, the reason he or she is asking you is because they want to find out maybe you're working on a project they are not aware of, and that's why you're downloading those files, right? But those are the things the logs help us to do. You have to be able to monitor and track different logs too. Control 7, email and web browser protection. All of us here on this call, it's fair to say we use email, we browse the web. So because of that, there should be mechanism on protection of how we use our emails and also how we browse. So that's really what this control is all about. It's talking about how do we prevent email usage and web usage, which is a big one, from potential critical attack vectors for phishing, malware, social engineering. Those are the popular ones for, I'm sure all of us get that all the time. You get an email trying to social engineer you to pay some money, pay for some maintenance. And sometimes the emails recently have been fine tuned to be good. In the past, one of the ways you find out if it's a malicious email is you check the spelling, the English, and all that, but not anymore because now they use AI to write perfect English. So you have to be much more in tuned and sharp now because the malicious guys are much more robust. All right, which control address email and web browser protection? Which of them? Which control address email and web browser protection? If you are just joining, welcome. The pin is 623817. Go to kahoot.it and let's see who our winner board is right now. Okay, so we have leading right now. Ooh, Manuel has taken over. Yak is right behind, and Benga. Yak has been consistent. Ooh, Grasa. Oh, look out for Grasa. Grasa has always been winner in most of our programs. So if I'm you, I'll be looking up for Grasa. Grasa always has a way of coming back. All right, let's see who else I recognize there. IE also, I've seen IE pull some upsets in the past. Let's say some familiar names there. All right, Topia, let's see if we can pull back from this one. Okay, Ed, Sylvia, you could pull some surprise. Why not? Cole, Femo Power. Ooh, Femo Power, you've always had a number in the past, but sorry, not today. All right, let's see some other people here. Kajel, Jamie. All right, better. All right. Okay, let's keep pushing. Let's keep pushing. You know, I don't get excited because I've seen people that I thought were gonna win. Suddenly, somebody just pulled from behind. So, all right, let's keep doing it. Let's go, folks. Awesome. Okay. So another one is Control 8, malware defense. I think we can all agree because malwares have become like the order of the day. So a lot of organization would have anti-malware solutions right now. It will have behavioral analysis to check if there was an unusual behavior. It will have sandboxing, whereby it can analyze malicious behavior. Then DNS filtering, your www dot whatever domain name, it can communicate and block any known malicious um, domain name in general. All right, let's see. Which control focuses on malware defense? Which control focus on malware defense? Which control focus on malware defense? All right, awesome. Wow, virtually everybody got this. Awesome. All right, cool, 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 cool. Love it. Okay, let's see. Control 9, limitation and control of network port, protocols, and services. Let's keep this simple. Sometimes the best defense is just restrict access to things you don't need. You know, many times your attackers scan for, you know, open ports and unnecessary services. So the rule of thumb is if I have a service that is not needed, just disable it, and make sure every service within your organization are things you really need. If you don't need it, just disable it. In the past, one of the things when I do security assessment for organization is we will just speak to your top leadership. Most of you will not even know. We'll tell them anyone that have not accessed a system in the last, let's say, 90 days, we remove the access. That's all. So they will not even know. We just remove the access. So, you will not even know that your access has been removed because historically you're not aware of it. As simple as that. Okay, let's see. Somebody had a question. If somebody, all right, let's see. Okay. Omoye, did you have a question? If you do, just text it. All right. Control 10, data recovery capability. Think about it for a second. CIS control 18 primary controls, right? One of them is data recovery. We are saying if by chance I have trouble with my data, can I recover it? I think that's fair. Some of us in the past, if you remember, that tool that they do back, when you're working on Microsoft Word or any tool actually, there's that tool that has this curve that you can go back. That's one of the most biggest saving grace out there because you can recover stuff. You can go back quickly. I think that's one of the most brilliant things that has, is it control X or is it Z? Yeah, control Z also. So you can imagine going back, that tool is just so profoundly a blessing because you can always go back to things. Imagine you cannot recover all the data and work you're doing. That would be very mega frustrating for a lot of people. So data recovery sometimes automated. You have secure backup storage, and it's not enough to back up. You have to constantly test also to make sure that whatever I'm backing up, I can actually recover it. So it's part of the big controls out there for us. It's not enough to back up. Can you recover it? True life stories from years back. I had a bank, big bank, and was one of my clients. And they've been backing up for many years. Guess what? When we did an assessment, we found out, thankfully, it was not during crisis. We found out that the backup they've been doing, the disk they were using was blank. So imagine, if it happened during a crisis and they're happy that, oh, we got backup and they went back and realized, it's not been backing up because they've not tested it. So, now they improve their process. Now they're testing. But you can imagine, I mean, I think they were just lucky. You can imagine it's an actual crisis and they can't really recover nothing because they thought they were backing up and they were paying this vendor. Imagine, you've been paying for a service for many years and only realizing it never backed up. So it's very significant. Okay. All right. Secure configuration for network devices, control 11. We're saying every one of us have network in your home today. We all have network. We're saying, do we have appropriate documentation on making sure the configuration is properly set up? Most people would have a baseline configuration, meaning minimum setting that is acceptable. And we can always use that as the starting point. You can always enhance it as needed, but at least you have a starting point. Then change management, we're saying if for any reason you make a change, right? Changes are going to happen all the time. But the question and challenge is when you make a change, do we have a process in place for making enhancements and for making sure that the changes went through an appropriate change management process, and was there proper approval, was there proper testing before the changes was deployed? Because it's not enough to make change. Yes, you can make a change, but sometimes the change you're making can break things and cause more problem, can introduce viruses and more attack surface or vector into your system. So it becomes more complicated. So it's not enough to just say you're making a change. Are we going through appropriate process when you make those changes also? All right, quick one. Let's quick. What does control level focus on? Let's see. What does control level focus on? Yeah, good point. Yes, approval matters in change management quickly. Yes, very important. Excellent. Love it. Love it. Okay. Boundary defense, you know, um, can we all type defense in depth, everybody? Can we type defense in depth if you don't mind? Just type defense in depth, everybody. Defense in depth. Defense in depth. So, in IT, in cyber generally, we have layers of defense because you're thinking in your mind, maybe at the application, database, network layer, every layer you're thinking in your mind, can I have multiple layers of defense so that if one of them is compromised, I have a second level that would protect me, right? So network segmentation is one of the big ones out there because it separates your security zone so that it can limit the impact. Think about it like you're safe in your room, in your closet. Imagine a burglar comes to your home and there was no living room, there was no bedroom. They just see the safe, right? Enter your room, they see the safe. So it makes it easy. You know what? If somebody's going to rob you, give them some work. Let them work for their robbery, right? Give them some work to do. The same thing for network segmentation. We're saying break it into smaller segments so that if one area is compromised, we stand a chance because we have other ways in which we can respond in general. Traffic filtering, intrusion detection, using good security method in transportation, network monitoring. Every one of these are very critical in terms of your boundary defense. Okay. Some of you that want to do the security plus, we offer that also. You would treat this in details there to help you pass the exam. Which control addresses boundary defense? Which control address boundary defense? Excellent. Control 12. Now again, don't stress it if you don't remember the name of the number of the control. I don't know the number myself off head, right? But I know the topic. You can talk about network segmentation, boundary defense, data protection, asset management, stuff like that. But I mean, why would I want to know is control 13 control? Yeah, it's good when you're working on the project, but don't go with the mindset of, oh, I need to know that. But I just have to find a way to still make sure you're not sleeping. So I put that as part of the quiz, right? What control number and but it's not a big deal. It's not expected for you to know the number mapping to each other, but you know the topic. That it's data protection. Know those topics. That's the main thing. Okay. Control 13 data protection. Again, we can agree one of the big issue out there today is data exfiltration. Can we all type data exfiltration if you don't mind? Data exfiltration. Exfiltration. So think about it. A lot of you, when you quit a job, you know, and I've seen this many times, somebody might call me and say, hey, coach, what's up? I want to find out your opinion. Would they find out in my company if I take data, blah, blah, blah? And I chuckle. Yes, easy, effortless. We use data loss prevention tool, DLP tool. At times they will overlook it because, yeah, no big deal. Your manager doesn't care. They just let it slip. Depends on the industry. Yes, yes, they will know. Don't ask that question. They will know. Don't take data now. Okay, here's the flip side. When you come to an organization and you bring data from your previous organization to your own new organization, nobody complains, right? I get it. When you're leaving and you're taking away, then somebody's going to scream. That's the way it works, right? So don't take it because the answer is yes, they can find out and you can't deny it. Somebody said, well, I just sent it to my personal email. Okay, same thing, they can find out. And most of the systems today will not allow you to use your external, memory card to pull data, unlike before. So they'll find out. Encryption is a big one out there. Access control, how do you gain access to it? Many people use classification. They use principle of least privilege. All that is saying is that if you don't need it, then we're not going to give you access. As simple as that, you know. Um, then also data retention. We want to make sure we have policies in place to highlight how we retain data. How long do you want us to retain it? The timeline, all of those should be spelled out also. All right, quick one. Let's see what you think. Which control focus on data protection? Which of them focuses on data protection? All right, let's see who's leading our leaderboard right now. Oh my gosh. I said you all are giving me a heart attack with the changes. It's always like that. Okay, Manuel is back up. Yak is back. Yomi, food is surprise. Grassa, I will take my bet on Grassa anytime. Experience and I won't be surprised. Okay, let's go. 14. Control access based on need to know. All this is saying is that if you don't need the access, don't give the access. Simple. Don't give people access what they don't need. Role-based access, give me access based on role, classify the data. For all the access we've granted, do we have a process to review them and certify them? Then we monitor access. This is one of the biggest parts in terms of the biggest risk out there, access control. So it's a big one out there, but these are the key fundamentals around the controls there. Wireless access control. Now, we can agree on this. We have to figure a category for wireless because now we know that all of us today on our phone, we are wireless. The kids will tell you, hey, dad, can I have access to to your Wi-Fi, right? That's the, guess what? Everybody is savvy about this right now. 70-year-old, 80-year-old, 5 years old. There is no generational gap in Wi-Fi access. It's amazing. Everybody has access. Everybody can use it now. It's insane, but it's common. It's mainstream, right? So it means because of that, it has its own unique focus, wireless access control. So we are talking about implementing continuous security process around it. How do we scan your network? How do we make sure we have strong authentication around it? Then how do we make sure you would not see this, but there's proper segmentation of the network that you are using? Your service providers will mostly have a way they are segmenting their network and all that. But many times you want to make sure also, many people will create a guest ID so that only guests can use certain part of their environment. So whatever your strategy is, but at the end of the day, there is consciousness and security around wireless access control also now. Account monitoring and control. So this is equally important because how many of us can imagine how many people you've granted access to your home network? If you have time, go back and check. You'll see multiple people still logged on to your home network now. Of course, they are not in that vicinity, but once they come around you, they can still log in because they've already logged in one time, right? And maybe you just wanted to give them access one time. You didn't intend for them to have access perpetually, right? Maybe somebody coming to do service in your house and they needed Wi-Fi, you granted them Wi-Fi, and you didn't remove the access. In the future, they can come in and use the same Wi-Fi, right? So those are things you can build process and system around provisioning of access to users, even in your home network, right? Right now. Okay, let's go to another one real quick. We're almost done with this, then we'll jump into the sweet part of this whole thing. You guys are gonna work on labs. That is the sweet part. It's gonna be awesome. All right, so don't worry. You guys have that's the fun part. Everything we're doing is cool, but the most big piece of it is we're gonna get that to that in a bit. Control 17 is talking about security awareness and training, right? I think we can all agree. Humans are the weakest link. That's why the training is exceptionally required. There's no shortcut to training your users. Up from the security to the CU, receptionist, everybody must have a culture of security awareness. All it takes to compromise the biggest organization in the world is just one weak link, especially someone that is genuinely authorized to have the access. If they are not trained, they will compromise every millions of dollars you spend on security. So it's so important to invest in training of your users, the basic awareness training, role specific training, especially for your leadership. Now, you might not believe it. Most people, the biggest compromise always happen from your top leadership. I've seen a C-level executive mistakenly paid $250,000 to the wrong vendor, and they just social engineered him, and he fell for it. Of course, most times they use the mid management or analysts as scapegoats. But the honest truth is that your top leadership are, I think, they are mostly. So we have to target them for retraining, specific training for top leadership, or else most of your top leadership are not too as savvy as you would think, really. Simulated attacks. So we're also thinking about making sure we have continuous phishing campaign within your environment and keep reinforcing it within your organization all the time also. 18, I think this should be the final one around the controls, application software security. Every one of us, we use application all the time. Your WhatsApp, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Pinterest, everything you use the application. So it's important to understand what are the security in the design, the software development, the actual testing, and are we constantly checking for vulnerabilities for those applications? Very important because think for a second, outside of the other products procured by Facebook, for example, Facebook is strictly an application, right? It's an application we all use all over the world, right? So think about that for a second. If that application is compromised, then the business is compromised. As simple as that. So it's a very significant thing out there in general. All right, quiz. Let's go. Okay, this is double point. You all can pull a surprise there real quick. What is the primary focus of Control 18? What is the primary focus of Control 18? What is the primary focus of Control 18? Excellent. All right, all right. Let's see. And this is just talking about the domain mapping, how we map the different domain areas to each other so you can have an idea. Tonight, you guys will map some domains. We're going to use, I'll skip this for a second. This is just talking about one of those access control, for example, network security, which we talked about, you know, and you all have access to this documentation in the portal. So make sure you go there and check it out. This is just talking about the different domain again. These are some implementation steps in general. Tonight, we're going to assess the current state. We're going to prioritize. We're going to implement controls. We're going to come up with a report as a team, and we're going to check the effectiveness of those controls. You'll be surprised what you'll do tonight. So don't worry. You can read this on your own. These are some best practices in general. These are some examples of industry focused for financial services that use CIS. You know, so yeah, that's really it. Another thing I'll quickly sneak in before we jump to the practical part of it is something called CMMI. Do you mind? Can we all type that together real quick? CMMI, everybody. CMMI, everybody, if you don't mind, can we type that real quick? So in the world of cyber, many times when we do assessment, there are many tools we can use for assessment. One of them is CMMI. So let's put it this way. When you go visit a doctor or a dentist, they'll ask you on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 2, 10, what is your pain level? It's the same thing. We're measuring maturity. 1 to 5. Naturally, we know one means, in this case, one means it's really bad. Two, yeah, and we're getting better. Three, okay, baseline. Four, efficient. Five, okay, awesome, right? That's really the gist of it. So, what is CMMI? It's a maturity model that was developed by Carnegie Mellon University. It's currently maintained by ISACA. For those of us that know different certification out there, ISACA is the body that offers CISA, offers C-risk, which we also prepare people for. It offers for CISM, CISM also, a couple of other certifications, but they're pretty good body out there. So look at the five maturity level they have. Level one is saying, yeah, a chaotic process, horrible. Level two, processes are planned, it's measured at the project level baseline. Level three, it's well characterized, understood, it has procedures and working instruction. Most environment will be level three because it has baseline understanding. Level four and five, we're talking about we can measure it quantitatively. It means you are no longer, you are mainstream, you are efficient, you are robust enough, you can do a lot of things. So it's a different monster entirely. That's what you're doing at that level. It's a different ball game entirely, which is great. So it means tonight when you start doing your assessment, you would see a questionnaire, the answer, and you might tell me, you know what, that's a level one because they are not really doing anything. It's horrible. Okay, I'll give them a level one. You might look at it and say, you know what, that's probably level two because they are more efficient, they're doing stuff the right way. Bingo, that makes sense. So you would make that decision tonight, okay, for everybody. So you see it in a bit. So let me get to another question. How many CIS controls are there? How many CIS controls? Remember, we did one to one number. How many are there? All right, we have people saying, yep, it's 18. Awesome, 18, 18. All right, cool, 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 cool. Okay, level one, let's give example. So level one, for example, means they don't have a process in place, no formal practice. They have inconsistent execution, unpredictable outcome, horrible. That's all I would say. An example, asset management is chaotic. They just don't have a way of keeping the assets. They randomly do patching, you know. Um, they just grant access based on immediate need. Shortcut to say chaos, 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 chaos. That's what it is in level one. Level two, they are project level discipline. This is really nothing at the enterprise level. Everybody is doing their own thing at the project level. They are very unpredictable. So that's another thing. There's limited standardized processes for different departments in the organization. So it's really, really borderline not organized. They have spreadsheets in which they used to maintain their asset tracking, their patching. They have maybe monthly patching for critical system, nothing well defined. Occasionally, they have access review, maybe once in 6 months, and their results are tracked in email. You can see it's not really matured. It's so inconsistent, right? That's what you'll be seeing there. Level three is enterprise, organization wide, not project specific. It's getting much more robust. They have centralized asset management system. They have where they are tracking their software, their hardware. They have a process to automatically do patch management, their maintenance. So they are doing well, really. You could tell they are doing something well now. They are doing well does not mean they are efficient in everything, but baseline they're doing well, right? It's systematic in nature. There's some good progress in general with this level. Level four, quantitatively managed, meaning we can measure effectiveness. If you cannot measure effectiveness, then don't even touch four or five because it means now we need to put numbers. It gets tricky. Now we are talking about efficiency. We have to say, you know, we have 90% success rate. There's 24/7 monitoring. There is 4 hours of key response time. So now we're talking about numbers, right? So it changes the game in general. Five. Five is like, now, heads up. Before you give five, think and put your legal hat on and say, if I was a lawyer, can I defend this? That's where you must. So some of you will come back and ask me, why don't we give five? What scenario will make me give five and all that? My challenge is always take a pause, think through it and say, can you defend the five though? Yes, we can give five, but can you defend it? Can you, in good faith, say, this five, I can defend it anyway. I'm good, right? That's the main thing there. Now, look at what five talks about. Now we're talking about threat intelligence integration, knowledge transfer. There's AI detection. So we are talking about very robust of the robust system whereby efficiency is so built in. We measure the numbers. We also have continuous efficiency. AI is probably giving you daily report, weekly report. So it's not just the efficiency of numbers, you're seeing it in real time. You can check the numbers now in real time. So if you have a process like that, then yeah, maybe you can do five because in real time you're getting information, you're getting updates. If there is an error, an issue, you get an update in time in that case. Okay. So just to give you some clarity, when you see stuff like that, that's what it means in general terms. All right. I will come back to this later. Let me see who we got here. Manuel, Yak, Yomi. All right. We'll come back to this when we do. And for those of you asking of the August night class, we kicks off on Saturday, 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 Sundays, and Wednesdays. Okay, let me just quickly do this. So we'll be done with this. Then we'll come back. No IT background required for the program. Anyone can do it. Not a big deal. Then the schedules are Wednesdays 8 to 10, Saturday 2 to 5, Sunday 2 to 5. That's the schedule for the program. The course is 899. You can do two payments or three payments. These are the payment option, the way it is on the academy.skillway.com. The curriculum of the program, some of you have asked that also. Everything, today's class is just one class. You're going to touch all of this. Equivalent of what we did today is what you're going to do for all of this, really. So it's a lot you're going to learn. It's a 6 weeks program. Be ready for a lot of boot camp work. For our folks that are coming back because they didn't, AI was not new then. Now we are doing AI assessment, operation technology, insider risk, so many other things we added really just to make it useful for most of our folks also. What roles can people apply for GRC analyst, third party? These are the roles some of our folks have gotten jobs in the past. Yeah, so all right. So now let's jump into the sweet part of it. We'll come back to this later. Let's see the winner for this segment. Third place, Yomi in the house. Second place, Yax. And the undisputed champion in this tournament is Manuel. Now, our first three, do me a favor right now, if you don't mind. Adi and Jules, thank you, runner up. Our first three, please send a mail to info@skillway.com right now, if you don't mind, so that we can have our team send you your gift by tomorrow. So just please go ahead and send. All right, all right. Okay, cool, 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 cool. All right, now let's jump into the meat of it. Everything we've done, it's been great, but this is going to be the most important piece of the puzzle. If you miss this part of it, I think you would have missed a whole lot. Everything we're doing, at the end of the day, we need to do the assessment. And this is where it becomes very important. So let me quickly share my screen, and we'll do like the first couple together. Then I'll make you all work as a team. And we would, this is the most important part. Once we work as a team, I'll send you all the reporting mechanism we're going to use. If you remember again, you can remember some of these categories. If you guys can see my screen. So your company will bring you to this. This is what you will see in real environment. They would have issues and they will tell you this is where we are, blah, blah, blah. And You just want to check where they are. So let's say asset management here, inventory control, hardware, software, you can see here. The question here was, do we run automated discovery weekly? They said we rely on, no, bring your own devices. We rely on SCCM in this case. Okay. Um, I have a question here also. Inventory inventory and control of software assets. I asked them, is a whitelist enforced? They said only on servers, workstation or managed. Okay. I asked another question here. So based on this first response, I asked them, do we run automated discovery weekly? All right. They said no. All right. So in that case, you will make a decision and say, well, maybe I'll give them 2 years. Let me ask another question here. They said, I asked them, is a whitelist enforced? They said only on servers, workstation, or managed. Okay. In that case, I may have to push them to 2 years because I'm not very comfortable there with that response. Another question here, vulnerability management, for example, and I'm here right now. I could ask them that the question was, how fast are critical patches applied? They said critical in 30 days, scanner run monthly. Hmm. So my question is that reasonable? Why would you run? What do you guys think? What do we score them here? If I ask them how fast are critical patches and they tell me 30 days, scanner run monthly, what do you guys, how would you score them? Let me see what you think. Let me make it bold. Somebody says blur. Let me make it bold. How would you score them here? Go ahead and score them. Let me see what you guys think. Yeah, I'll probably go for one or two too, or yeah, maybe one just to find their trouble so they can tell me what they do. Because if you tell me you're scanning critical 30 days, that is a problem for me. I mean, it's critical for a reason, right? So I'll probably do one like you guys said, really, because that's a big one. Okay, look at another area here. They said, let me reduce this also. Control use of admin privilege. So the question was MFA on all admin accounts. They said MFA on domain admins only. Okay. I asked them, are CIS benchmark applied? They said builds adding once, drift not monitored. So you could tell, yeah, this is a very interesting case. So I'll probably go with two there, right? So now I've put these guys have been, so let's say the first, all the ones in yellow, I've done it. But let me go down a little bit. I'm going to remove all these other ones and I would like you all to work on it. Look at their responses. Now, you will notice one thing, ladies and gentlemen, as they are changing, as we score them, if you look at this second tab, automatically this tab is changing. You can tell here, right? These tabs are changing too. So this gives us an indication of what it will look like, right? So I would like us to work as a team. You know what? Let me do two more so that we just have like the last. I'll do it up to 8. Then you guys will do 8 to 18, right? So, or you know what? Let me do it to 10. So we just have 8 to do. So let's say logging and monitoring. I asked them, is there a central SIM coverage? They said 80% of servers, workstation not monitored. That's a big concern for me. If you're not monitoring the workstation, what do you guys think? Let me see what you guys score them. One, I agree with that. Okay, let's say another one. I asked them, uh, did we have attachment sandboxing? You know, okay, so let's see what they have here. Phishing and drive and by download are top initial vectors, limited sandboxing. I'll probably just do one here too. Now, remember again, some environments are not matured, and that's okay. The whole essence of us coming in is to evaluate the environment. It does not have to be matured. Some environments are more mature than the other. Let me give an example. If you have an environment that just went through a merger and acquisition, if the parent company is publicly traded and the new acquired company was private and also headquarters in, let's say, Latin America, this is a real life story I'm giving you, right? I think it's fair to say culturally there would be a lot of challenge before they step up and be ready for compliance. So in that situation, I would bet you their first 3 years will be horrible and it's normal. Another scenario I'll give you is oil and gas, a new acquisition of three new subsidiaries. Each of these subsidiaries are multi-billion dollar company, maybe like not too much, but maybe like 2 billion, 1 point something billion, 1 point something. So three subsidiaries bought by a big oil and gas, right? So those three subsidiaries, naturally, they don't have as many staff as the big guys, but their security posture equally was not as good because they are new. So typically the first couple of years would be immature. Out of one to five, if a company their first year has 1.6, 1.7, that is pretty good. It's okay. Second year, based on my assessment and my feedback, and once they work on it, I expect you to be at 2.1, which is big. So don't look at it, forget the number. Look at the body of work. Because think of each of those numbers are big processes that requires people potentially being hired, building of new processes, implementing new technology, cost involved. So it's a lot of decisioning. A lot of things will not be touched because they don't have the budget for it, right? So think of it from that angle. So if I see a little shift, if somebody moves from 1.8 in 1 year to 2.3, I jump. I'm so happy because that's huge. That's a big jump actually. By the third year, they are getting to maybe 3 or 2.8, 2.9. Bingo, that's a big one. Then by the fourth, fifth year, then we can now be saying maybe they are 3.4, 3.5. That's a big maturity. That's awesome, actually. If you get to 3.8, oh, then you are really self-sustaining. You are just very efficient at that point. You've implemented a lot of solutions, a lot of system processes, technology, and it's just beautiful. Especially if you are part of it, seeing the growth of a company over time. It's just beautiful, really. So, okay, let's say another one. Eight, vulnerability management. Do we have EDR coverage, real-time responses? They said um, antivirus on all, EDR pilot 20%. So I can tell this is not a lot of maturity. I asked them, do we do quarterly port scan? Do you have firewall rules review? They said we just do yearly scan and rules ad hoc as needed. So definitely we give them 1 year. So I would like you all to work on 10 to 18, and if you notice when you look at this CIS control here, you'll see that it's changing here, right? So you guys just work on the last three. Then after you work on it, I'm going to send you a prompt to use. And the prompt will be something you're going to use to build your report. Very important. I'll show you what that prompt looks like real quick, ladies and gentlemen. Give me 1 second to show you what it will look like. If you've not logged on to let me show you guys. If you've not logged on to the system, please make sure you log on. These are very important stuff. Everything we did here is here. You can learn so much with this process. But let me show you guys the, the final report prompt I want us to use. We're going to come here, copy, and make changes to, oh, sure. I can't. Okay, let me try and put this up real quick. Final prompt. If you are not in the group for the internship, please make sure you join that group because I'm going to paste something there right now. Let me see if I can paste this to our chat here. It might not allow me to paste it, but let me paste it. Oh, it does. All right, this is going to be the prompt you are going to use. Let me show you what it will look like after you do your assessment. There are three tools we use in our community. Some of us use Cloudy.ai. Some of us use OpenAI, ChatGPT. I'll show you how we use both of them and the way the result will look like. It's pretty awesome. I'll tell you the one we prefer or the one I like personally. You can use anyone you want to. It's just preference, right? I like for assessment work, we love Cloudy because it pulls it in an amazing professional way. So let's say, this is my result, for example. You all would have your own result. While this guy is working, I'll show you another one. I'll go to ChatGPT here, for example. Then I'll come here and paste the prompt I gave to you. Then you just, let me see if you guys are seeing my screen. So once you run the prompt, it's going to pull, let it do its magic, give it like 2 minutes. Then it will give you an amazing report that we can now leverage and choose somebody to present for your group at the end of the day and be ready to talk about each one of those areas, what your observation was at the end of the day. So if you look at this one, I'm looking here, it pulled it into a Word document for me. You guys can see the Word document. Let me open the Word document so you guys can see what it looks like for me. Let me open the Word document for you all to see. I love the version for Cloudy personally, but let me show you what the Word document looks like. It's pretty good too. Now, let me tell you all something. Believe it or not, some years back, as far back as 3 years ago, report will take you at best 3 days. 3 days. You can imagine what I'm doing now. Like, it looks so quick, and you know, you can imagine. But this is amazing. But anyway, so this is whatever your assessment is. When you guys are done with assessment, your report will look like this. Okay. But let me show you another type that we love so much. Those of us in our community would appreciate this. Oh, you might have seen this. Okay. Oh, come on. Oh, shoot. Let me show you guys. I love this so much, guys. For those of us that were in consulting for many years, you can appreciate this. It's like what Ernst& Young, Deloitte, or McKinsey would do. Look at the report, ladies and gentlemen. This is Cloudy. Cloudy is just on steroid when it comes to report. It's insane. The way it makes the report looks good. The executive summary, it talks about the key strengths, then it breaks it down into like a dashboard. It will tell you the priority area. It will even show you the scale of each one of those domain areas. You can see the summary of the findings. It's just beautiful. Then the critical areas that have issues, it will show you real quick. Let me see if you guys are seeing my screen. Yeah, you can see. So then you can see the table here. It's breaking it down to another level entirely, you know? So, I mean, it's just beautiful. And you can publish it, you can export it as a document, but this is really good stuff. So, in your team, what you're going to do, step one, complete the assessment, which I'm going to share right now. I'm going to share that with you all right now. Start from number 10. You'll see it blank. I'm going to send it to you all. Once you get it, do me a favor. Just give me thumbs up that you got it. There we can, I will just say 073125. All right. I'm going to share it in the WhatsApp group. Unfortunately, with Zoom, we cannot share directly. If somebody knows how to share directly on Zoom, let me know. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it to you all on the WhatsApp group for the internship WhatsApp group. If you're not in that group, you might not see it, but I'm going to send it right now to you all. If you receive it, do me a favor, just give me thumbs up. You got it. It should be in that group. I just sent it to you all right now. Once you get it, just give me thumbs up. You got it. I just sent it to the internship group. Once you get it, just give me thumbs up. You get it. Can you all check real quick? Okay, I think some of you got it already. Excellent. Let me share it in some other groups out there so you all can have access to it. Let's see. All right, let's go. Okay, cool. I think most of you got it. I mean, if you don't have it, most of you should have it, and you can share it in your community once we get into our working session. Make sure, very important, ladies and gentlemen, when you get to your group, you will hear a few seconds of silence. If you miss out on this, honestly, you've missed out on the experience of the program. When I put you in a group, I need you to be part of that group. Just have fun with it. We're going to be like, we'll have 5 groups, and each group, or let's say 6 groups, or what, let's make it 7 groups. Within your 7 groups, do me a favor, just be engaged. There's no leader, just volunteer immediately. Just say, okay, guys, let me just show you my screen. Share your screen with others and let us learn together. I'll be bouncing within the group. Open the document, put your own value, then copy and paste it with the report I gave, and just have fun. And I'll send the prompt also to that group, okay? All right, let's do that real quick. We'll be back in the next 20 minutes or 25 minutes, then we'll wrap it up. You all, I want you to present. So choose the presenter. You see me ask you all to select a presenter. So once you're done, select a presenter. We'll do this for 30 minutes. If this is clear, please give me a thumbs up. And today again, I'll make you build resume, believe it or not. I'll make you all build your resume before you go. What about that? Why not? I'll make you all build. If it makes sense, give me a thumbs up real quick, everybody. All right. So somebody said we don't do unfortunate here, Mr. Whoever that is, Bena. All right. So let's have fun. Again, once you have the group open, please just take leadership. Don't wait for anybody. Just start sharing. The last thing you want to do, and I'll challenge everybody here, the last thing you need to do is you chilling and thinking, oh, let them be talking and I'll be watching them talk. If you do that, you've cheated yourself big time, I'll guarantee you, because they're just going to exercise their muscle of, presentation, muscle of interaction in project environment, and you are just chilling and thinking, oh, let them be talking, I listen. You're cheating yourself. Don't do it. So be very engaged, be involved, and have fun. All right, see you guys in the next 30 minutes. I'll bring you all back. All right, see y'all. All right, welcome back, everybody. All right, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, so if you don't mind, for each of the group, if you are presenting, just do me a favor, just raise your hands, and we would make sure we mute you. So let's start. We might take like 3 groups that are willing to volunteer to present, or 4 groups that are willing to volunteer. Let's start with Juliet in the house. Thank you, Juliet, for volunteering. All right, go ahead and present and share your screen, Juliet. Your show.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Juliet. I'll go ahead and share my screen.
Oh,
Let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? I can't hear anybody talking.
yes, we can see your screen.
Oh, okay.
Juliet.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So we conducted the CISI assessment, and below we have the reports. The report reviews critical cybersecurity posture, which requires immediate remediation across all the domains. And we had a maturity score of 1.26 out of 5. Here we have the assessment scores. We had like a 2, 1, 1.33, which is, it reviews like very critical, needs immediate remediation. So below are the summary findings. We have critical vulnerability, like I don't want to run down. Yeah, so I'll just go to the action plan. Since it reviews all the domain critical level, so we just break it down based on the difficulty level and the priority. We have like all of them are critical: physical device, sys inventory, software inventory, vulnerability management plan, and it broke it down to medium, high, critical in terms of the difficult level and the priority level based on which should be prioritized first. And here we came down to this implementation timeline. We have like eight of the controls, critical controls that should be remediated within a short time frame of 1 to 3 months. We had the medium priority, which we have 4 of the critical domains, which should be remediated within 3 to 6 months. And here we have for the standard priority, we have like 3 of those controls, and that requires remediation within 6 to 12 months. So yeah, that's what we have here.
Awesome. Very well done, folks. What team is this?
Group 2.
Group 2. Man, I can't speak enough about the way you guys, this Clouded just breaks it down. Really nice. Very well done, Juliet. Great
Thank
presentation
you.
also. Thank you, ma'am. All
Thank
right,
you.
let's see. Let's go to uh, um, Max. Go ahead, Max.
Okay. Yeah. So do you see my screen?
Yes, Max.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, Max. We see your screen.
This is not my screen, right?
Oh, so this is not your screen, the one that
No.
has it. Okay. Okay. Can you share your own screen then?
Okay.
Let's see whose screen this is.
Yes. Just
Okay,
give
I
me
think
one
that's
sec.
Omoye's screen. Let me stop. Okay, can you share your own screen now?
Yes, I'm trying to do that. Just 1 second. Uh,
While you're doing that, Omoye, you know what? Let's let Omoye go ahead and share your screen. Oh, okay. Whose screen is coming up? Okay, don't worry. Max, you're good. Go ahead, Max.
so you see my
Okay,
screen
awesome.
now?
Yes, we see you, Max.
Okay. All right. So here we'll have our executive summary. It revealed that the overall maturity level for the organization was 1.39 average. Um, they have a lot of work to do. The critical risk status was 78% for most domains, which
Yeah.
were. Hello, can you hear me?
Yep. We can hear you. Continue.
Yeah. So we'll have the visual for the current state assessment. So most of them are below 2 average for across board.
Yep.
This is the risk distribution analysis. As I mentioned earlier, everything is below 2, and most of them are critical. We just have a less than, just about 10% medium risk finding. So the summary of the finding here shows the critical vulnerabilities that has been identified.
Yeah.
So the critical vulnerability, the vulnerability management, logging, blah, 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 to your identity access management. These are all critical. So the
Okay.
recommendation.
Sorry. Hold on, bro. So make sure we don't use blah blah blah. All right. So
Okay.
just because think from a client's perspective, right? So
Okay.
I get it, but make sure don't do that, please. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. So the recommendation
Yeah.
for the immediate action, focus on foundational security controls to prevent imminent threats, and so on and so forth to the third-party support. Consider
Yep.
managed security services for critical gaps. I don't want to read, I don't want to
Okay.
spend time to go
Got it.
through everything.
Do me a favor.
Okay.
Okay, let's look at the mitigation and action plan. So for that one, if I ask you, and I think virtually all yours are also critical, but if I ask you that, which one would be your top? If I ask you, which one would you tell me as the CISO to focus on? Your top three. I know this is tricky, but which one
Okay.
would be your top three? Yeah.
Okay. So top three, I would ask. So ask them to focus on vulnerability management. That's
Okay.
critical. I'll ask them to focus on. So of course that depends on the business, the kind of business, the kind of business the organization does.
Yeah.
So it depends on their profile. But
Yeah.
generally speaking, I'll ask them to focus on the vulnerability management. I'll ask them to focus on the network security. Oh,
Okay.
okay. Network security is not too bad.
And I know your team are already giving you answers in the chat.
So I ask them
Okay.
to focus on data protection
Okay.
and then identity and access management.
Okay. Now let's pause. This is a good teachable moment for all of us. I like your strategy. You're a politician and you're a consultant. You said it depends. So that's the consulting answer. So I get it. You kind of opened up yourself to say, it depends on the business. So I agree with you. It depends on the business. So let's think a little bit together as a team. And I like the perspective some of us are bringing on. I see somebody says identity access management. I tend to agree with that personally a lot. It doesn't mean I'm right, but I'm just saying I tend to agree with IAM because if you compromise your IAM, it's one of the easiest entry points I've seen in from a threat point of view. So I agree with whoever typed IAM. I think that was Kweku and a few other folks. So I like IAM for sure because that's a big one. I can also agree with data protection ultimately because we're thinking and saying, okay, from a regulatory point of view, when where can we get into the most trouble? Is when data is compromised right now. It's not just issue with my company, it becomes public matter for us. Right now we are embarrassed. Our customers are potentially filing class action lawsuits. So it gets a bit more complicated at that point, right? So yes, but you're right. Your answer is political, but it's the real thing. It depends on the business and the priority of the training of the organization also. But on the surface, you can really go wrong with identity access management. This is for everybody. You can really go wrong with data protection or data privacy security because those ones are things that we get into trouble quick and it will expose you so badly, embarrass you so badly. We're not saying everything else is not important, but most times those two are like heavy eaters that will just really mess us up so quickly. Okay. All right. Good job, sir. Very well done, sir. All right. Thank you, Max. All right. Let's jump to Omoye in the house. Go ahead, sis. Let me find you so I can unmute you on my. All right. Go ahead, sis.
I'm presenting for Group 3, and the summary of our CIS Control Assessment Report. We have a CMM maturity score of 1.3 on an average over 5, which makes us to know that straight that there's a first time that the organization is having such, or there's an AVOC level there's an AVOC level security posture.
Okay.
CIS assessment revealed a very significant gap across all the domains that we evaluated. And like I said earlier, we had this maturity score of 1.3 out of 5. And it also indicated, like I also said earlier, that there's either an AVOC level or an initial level. We had 7 critical areas and 2 high-risk areas, and we had no medium or low scale. In all the domains, we can see that apart from the asset security and communication management, that every other domain gave us a score of MMM of 1.0, given an average of 1.3. There were a lot of critical security gaps that we identified in vulnerability management, 1.0, data protection, security awareness, application security, logging and monitoring, identity and access management, and network security. And looking at the posture, we would want to take anyone that we can fix within, have a strategic action plan where we can fix anyone that will be done in short term of 1 to 3 months. And that means we have to look at those that have a priority more of a short term. And just like you said earlier, based on our results, one of the 3 of the major things we're going to concentrate on are going to be
let me challenge you.
asset
Let me challenge you a little bit. So let's
Okay.
go down. Okay, pause there. So if I ask you now, which will be your top 3 for you to resolve if you were to make a decision? Which will be your top 3?
Identity access management,
Okay. Scroll
vulnerability,
down.
vulnerability management, and
Okay.
management assessment, and data protection. Those will be the basic
Okay.
3 that we'll have
Okay.
to look into critically.
Okay. But you know, I will still challenge you and tell you that, okay, can you scroll down? Scroll down a little bit. No, scroll up rather. Scroll up. Go back up to that table. Stop here. I'll challenge you and say, in your scenario, remember again, we have to start with the critical, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I get that sentiment, right? Because your leadership would believe there's a reason you made it critical. So yes, even though I agree in principle, I am data security, but in this scenario, you have it as
Ms. Nadia.
critical, right? So that means there is a reason you made it critical. So it has opened you to fear questioning, because I'm going to ask you and say, okay, yes, you've said critical. What's the rationale for it being critical? You know, I would definitely ask that question, right? So just give me a heads up that, okay, this is going to be something to, yeah, prepare your mind for. You might have it as critical. Be ready for someone asking us, why did we consider this critical? So in your case,
For instance, if
sorry,
we take identity access management,
yeah,
we'll find out that, no, sorry.
you're right. You know, you're right. Sorry,
Yeah.
ignore me.
Okay.
You're right. You're right. Because protect access control is critical there. Then data security is critical. So you're right. Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right. Okay, my bad. You're right. Okay. Let's see. So I think, yeah, I think those are the key things. Any other comment around it?
And we also want to let them know the implementation roadmap that we'll be following,
Okay.
and building up of security enhancements, foundation building and advanced capability involving the security measures that are in the OS system.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
some of the mitigations, for instance, for the identity access management would be that they will deploy automated access discovery tools, which could establish access registry and implement access targeting the system. And for vulnerability management, we could also deploy small vulnerability scanners, and also patches that we can establish a better scanning schedules, because if we look at most of what the results gave, some of them you don't have good scanning schedules, and also implement a better vulnerability management process or procedure, so that we'll be able to take care of the patch management involved in the vulnerability management.
Got it.
Security.
Okay. Fair point. All right. Thank you so much, sis. All right. Awesome. Okay, let's go to Duchess. Go ahead, Duchess. Then we'll take Olatunbosun and we'll wrap it up on this segment. Go ahead, Duchess.
Thank you. Can you guys hear? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'll have my team member share her screen.
Door open.
Yinka, can you share your screen?
Go ahead, team member.
Sorry, who is sharing? Is this my team member?
Yes, that's Inka's screen.
No, depends. This is group 7. That's not what our screen look. Okay, let me just see. Okay, that's the report. Yeah. So you want to scroll down, please? So pretty much when we perform the exercise, we put into context the fact that certain things are in place based off of understanding of their responses back to us. For example, if there's a process in place for access control, saying that they are performing access controls, but they are not performing it continuously, we're also considering the fact that depending on the criticality of the environment or the criticality of the application or processes that they manage, access control might require continuous or constant review, even though they perform it on an annual basis. So most of our rationale came from understanding the fact that their responses pointed to a process in place, but not organized. So if we scroll down to our results from our Excel was 1.56 based off of the analysis that we did. Yinka, if you can scroll down to, we had 1.56 overall. I'm not sure if it's Yinka that is sharing.
Yinka's, if you don't mind, Yinka, can you scroll down a little bit so that we can see the full details? Yeah, you can scroll down your report so we can see it. Somebody said process in place was in chaos.
Yeah, that's why setting up our responses were one, because we acknowledge the fact that.
Just scroll down.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Do you have the Word document? If you have the Word document, can you share the Word document easily?
Well, it's okay. You can talk through it. Just okay. Let me ask you. Which domain area would you say was your biggest? And I think we can tell from looking at the screen. Which one would you say we should focus immediately on? Your top 2.
Our first one was vulnerability management.
Okay.
And then our second is multiple option application security or logging and monitoring was what, because those were our high and critical environments.
Okay. So
And
because
then
application
security
security
awareness.
and security awareness. Okay. So let me ask, because okay, that's another big point. You would have your reason for choosing security awareness, you might have realized that maybe the last time awareness was done was 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Sometimes
Yeah.
you would have your justification. So it doesn't mean that sometimes you have a compelling justification that, hey, this must be done now because we have zero. Then you know that, okay, this is trouble, right? Especially if we are thinking of privacy information. You are dealing with GDPR, PIPEDA, all those external regulators of CCPA. Then you know that, man, we are in trouble if this is not done because we are subjected to all this regulation and we hold customers' data and financial record, health record. So because of that, it's critical for you that, man, we just found out nobody's doing training for the last 2 years. And all of this, we are now required to be in compliance with all of this regulation. Then it becomes critical to you because of that reason. So you could have a point. So, all right. Thank you so much, Duchess. Let's just do the last one with Olatubosun. Thank you so much. All right, go ahead, Olatubosun, if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah. Good day, all. Okay, so let
Hi.
me share my screen. Okay, so our CIS assessments using the CMMI framework gave us an overall maturity score of 1.5 out of 5 for the organization, which shows that their security practice is more or less ad hoc and there are rooms for improvement. Going forward, let's look at the critical aspects of the report so we can know where we need to focus more of our attention and resources right now.
Yeah.
We have the access management, data security, security monitoring, and vulnerability management. All these are critical, which are needed to be sorted out within the next 1 to 3 months for for us to improve our security posture.
Yeah.
The mitigations which we could take from those critical aspects of our reports. For example, the asset management. We need
Mhm.
to automate our asset discovery by implementing discovery tools and establish CMDB.
Okay.
Data security, implementing DLP solution to classify sensitive data from our usual business operation data. We
Yeah.
also need to deploy a centralized log system to monitor our network data. Um, that means implementing SIM tools. Then for vulnerability management, we need to also automate our scanning process. Um, so we also have some of these so we also have some of the action plans that some of the the action plans that we could take for high risk level also, which is
Okay.
identity management, network security, incident response, and
All right.
security
So
training
let me ask you.
for
Let me
our
ask you,
staff.
Bosun. All right. If somebody asks you and say, you know what, we are struggling with budget right now, Bosun, where would be your top three angles for us to invest in? What's going to be your initial thoughts?
Yeah, so I'll stick to the top three in my security, in my critical risk level.
Yeah.
That will be the asset management, data
Okay.
security, and security monitoring.
Okay. Got it. Okay. The immediate ones are there. All right. Fair point. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Bosun. I appreciate it. Let's give some love to Juliet, Max,
Okay, sir.
Omoye, Bosun. Adila, no, Duchess, and Manuel. Thank you all. Thank you so much for the presentation. All right, cool. Okay, one thing we're gonna do before we wrap up, I know we have 15 minutes to go, is just to make sure, I mean, you guys amazing. The final thing I want to just show you all is make sure you go back to the class itself. Then the other thing is I'm going to send you guys another link real quick. Just do the final Kahoot before we wrap it up today. And please, if you are one of our winners, just make sure you text me so that we can know you are one of them. This is the final Kahoot. If you don't mind, just um, go ahead and quickly join that Kahoot real quick, if you don't mind. So I'll tell you one more thing we'll do before we leave here tonight. Let me share my screen first. Then the final thing is building your resume, right? Now I know what you're thinking. I'm not saying just use this for the only thing for you to get a job. Nope. But it's a good step. For those of you that have done our GRC program, most of you are still applying for roles. I get it. Keep applying, keep fine-tuning your skill. If you've not joined, make sure you're part of our coming class so that you can fine-tune your skill, learn a lot so that you have better chance of getting an opportunity out there. Very important we do that. So I sent you guys a a prompt for resume. This is what it will come up like, right? So whatever it comes out to be, this you can see here, it talks about healthcare industry, enterprise-wide CIS control mapping, blah, blah, blah. This is what you just did right now, ladies and gentlemen. This is what you just did. You know, some organization would ask someone that has experience with mapping. I know I was in a group, somebody was saying, oh, the frameworks are very similar. That is so true. That is super true because a lot of them are similar in nature. Look, there's no way you can break down asset management than asset management. Really, it is asset management. You might hear difference of, okay, instead of bill of material, it's software bill of material, SBOM, SCCM. You might hear stuff like that for configuration management. But those are basic terms. But the bottom line is that they are very similar in nature, which is the beautiful thing. If you get to a meeting, and that's why I love what we do, I guarantee you, most of us in professional field, when you get to a meeting, you are not lost because a lot of things we've talked about in our own program also mentally gets you there. I'm not saying you will know everything 100%. You might not know the acronyms, their custom vendors, their own way of business. You learn that over time in their business, right? But the gist of it, 80% you'll be grounded. You know what they're talking about. They might be custom to their own environment, their own style. Yeah. But in general terms, you'll be fine. That's the beautiful thing. So once you have this, I'll recommend use that prompt to build and just look at what it says. Another thing I like you all to do is I don't know if you guys have ever used this tool called Notebook LLM. We use it because I think it's always a smart way to kind of, you know your resume. So copy and paste whatever that resume develops for you, right? And slam it into this tool called Notebook LM, right? If you've never used it, no big deal. Not a big deal. Just go to create new. We use it a lot in our community just to make it will turn it to a podcast for you. Just click on insert and it will start generating. Then click on this side that says generate here. And let me send you the link to the app. It's called Notebook LLM. You'll see it in the text here. We are very AI driven here for efficiency, okay? We are not saying AI is replacing us, we're just saying it makes us more efficient. That's all. So I sent the link to us as a team so you can have access to that link also. Um, but use it as a way to kind of crystallize your resume. I'll recommend that, right? Whatever resume you build, for those of you that are part of our programs, thank you all. A lot of you have registered already for the upcoming August night program. This is just a way to kind of get you familiar with some of the things we'll learn. Just keep learning, keep developing yourself. One thing I know is that you can't go wrong upscaling. And I know a lot of people always say, well, the economy is this, the economy. It's not relevant to my thinking because ultimately, what do you want though? It's like a kid that is about to leave college. Are we going to tell them, don't leave college because of we think the economy is not good? No, keep adding skills and layers of knowledge to yourself. That's all you can control. Everything else we cannot control, right? None of us is going to stop AI from being relevant. A lot of companies now, sadly, a large chunk of their workforce are cut because they are core technical areas. We in cyber GRC or strategy side are not as if impacted yet because there's still regulation we need people need to comply to. And because of that, the oversight need is still there. You can't just dismiss that. For the technical folks, I see higher risk because AI agents can monitor network better than you and I. They can develop program better than you and I. They can run model better than you and I. So because of those challenges, yeah, that might be some elements there. But overall, for us in the cyberspace strategy place, the relevance is still there. It's not as much of jobs like it was like a year ago. Yes. And there are many dynamics, I think. For example, a lot of organizations are not sure of the um, direction of different policy yet, especially with the specifically mostly the tariff for a lot of businesses in manufacturing. So people are just a little bit nervous about the angle to um, go long term. So that makes people withhold a little bit, and I think it will improve and get better because the pressure is there for more interaction with different organization, I think. So, but that's one of the things I feel. Then AI automation, of course, but those are the two big areas that in the news we've seen as a trend line, right? But we need to still keep putting ourselves with skills, upskilling ourselves, and keeping ourselves relevant at the end of the day. So if you guys can hear me, you hear this. If you guys can hear, let me see. So I'm playing the recording right now. Can you hear it? If you can hear it, give me a thumbs up, please. Let me be sure. Can you guys hear me? Oh, okay. Let me replay it.
Too.
Oh,
Our mission really is to pull
the
out the most
resume
important
is what
insights,
I
give
just
some
played
surprising
now,
facts,
and that's what is
and the
playing right
kind of
now. If you
how-to
guys
from
can
this
hear that
experience.
resume,
We
give me
want to
thumbs
show
up.
you how these concepts, the theory actually turn into real
Okay,
work.
awesome.
Exactly. And what's fascinating, I think, is that we
So
can see
I
tangible
recommend
results
we
here. We
do
see that
that for
strategic
our
thinking
resumes.
applied to some really
It's
complex
always nice
problems,
to give
and
you
understanding these roles,
a way
GRC,
to
IT risk,
listen to
is
your
just
resume
crucial if you're trying to
and get
navigate those
familiar
roles
with it.
today.
Okay.
Definitely. So
All
let
right. So okay, I'll pause that. So the final thing we'll do, we'll just do a quick Kahoot and we're out of here. We try to respect time and stick to time. And just embrace it, folks. Let me share my screen again. The Kahoot code is six. Where's the code again? 623-817. 623-817. Let's get more people to join. Let me send it to you all again. Check your chat. It's there. 623-817. Let's quickly. It's just two questions. I'll be out of here, folks. We have 8 more minutes. Hopefully it was worthwhile. Hopefully this was useful to you. Keep learning, keep growing, keep developing yourself. That's our commitment to our community. We just want to keep learning, keep growing, and empower yourself. And another on the side, we have a sister company called Landzeo. We believe in investments into land projects, land banking in the US, Texas especially. Take advantage of it. It's the best time to build wealth, I think, even in the midst of the chaos and madness right now. It's one of the best times ever. So take advantage of it. Don't wake up and realize, oh my gosh, you're out of the loop. Be part of the process too. And I'll show that also. For some of you that want to know a little bit about it, people have reached out to me one on one in the past on this too. I'll share that after our quiz real quick. I'll be out of here. All right, let's start this real quick. All right, let's go. So, two questions only. We like feedback. If not, we can improve. We want to improve our process with you all. and keep offering value to our community. All right, two questions. How was your internship experience? Let's see. Give us some your ideas. How was the experience in general? How was your internship experience? All right, thank you everybody. Eye opening. Good, awesome. Thank you everybody. All right, the final question. What will you improve? I'm sure you have one or two things you feel we can do better. What will you improve? Those feedback help us to make it a better program for our community. So sometimes we might not implement immediately, but most times if we see things we can do to make it better, we always stick that in just to help us make it better for you. That's our commitment. That's what we got here. Keep learning, go to conferences, learn, keep learning, and we develop each other. All right, the timing, more knowledge, study and research, make quiz together, improve on my resume, communication time, 2 hours max. Okay, love that. All right, so maybe we meet and compromise 2 hours max. We used to do 2 hours. Funny thing is that, but we realized that sometimes we don't have enough time to for the working session. So maybe we'll meet in the middle. So instead of 3 hours, we might come back to 2.5 hours. But that's a good feedback. I'll probably trust me, I want that too. You know, I like that. So probably we'll meet in the middle. I'll take it to my team for sure. I love it. That's awesome feedback. All right, the final one is let me see. Someone pinged me on. Okay, let me show you guys the final thing there. If you've never seen this before, this is our sister company. I'd like you all to visit it and check a little bit. At the minimum, one thing I'll challenge everybody is, I'll show my screen now. At the minimum, I want you to know a little bit about land investment in the US for everybody. You know, it's important because this is one of the best ways, to really, really empower ourselves, our community big time. So exploit. We have a group also. I will share the group for some of you that might be interested to know more. I'll share the group with you all, yeah, before I leave so that you can have access and join that group also. You might not be brought in immediately. It might be maybe tomorrow my admins would get to it, but let me share the group in this chat also for those of you that want to know more. And one thing we do just to give you a heads up is that for most of them, most of the programs or the community we go to, we make sure we speak to all the top leadership there. So the leadership we speak with, they would, they will give us an idea of what's coming to that community. And another thing I would like to share with you all, for your children, for us, we take it serious. Let me show you what we did. We did a summer program for high schoolers. Some of you might have, you know, some of you might ping me one on one. Somebody said, GRC student get the code for the specialized pricing, please. We don't have a specialized pricing like before, but let me see if my team can give you guys ping me. I think there's a code for maybe 5% or something like that. But let me share with you, real, if you do referral, we can work out something for sure. Just let us know one on one. But let me share with you all our summer program for your children in the future. Hopefully, some of you would bring your kids on this program next year. But it's amazing. Let me quickly share again. I think it will be worth your 2 minutes. Let me quickly share this with you all. I'm so proud of those kids. We had about 40 children this summer for our Landzio program, and it was amazing. Let me share with you all.
My name is Alicia, and I'm a part of the Lansdale internship program.
and ownership and land building.
It was just like learning about the types of land and what you had to consider when you were looking at land.
And being able to negotiate, like, do I really want to buy this land? Because just because it's land doesn't mean you should buy it.
I learned about
And these
the
are
different
some of
uses
our
of
kids
land that you could use, not
during
just buying
summer.
it and let it sit.
I learned a lot, especially about the process of land investment, the kind of aspects that you need to consider, like the zoning. We used real estate to learn about how technology plays a role in society. I really wanted to start learning about land investment, as mainly I was focusing my path on engineering, but I wanted to explore into different paths I could take after college. I want to major in management information systems, so that is a mix of business and technology.
That's one of our
That's the main
projects
reason
that the
why I was
kids, after they
interested
did their
in this
program,
internship,
they went in to
because
just
I knew that those were
tour the
topics
land.
that were going to be covered.
In the future, I'll probably have it on the side since I want to become a dentist.
If you're able to find a way to help our community through land investment, through leadership, it's really impactful for all these families to help them start up and help them grow.
It makes me like know more about lands. You know what kind of things you can do on the land, the pricing, the sizes, everything like that, and what you're looking for in the land if you want to use it for businesses, for farming.
Even if land investment isn't a thing that you think about, I think it's good to really explore, get beyond your comfort zone at times, because like who knows, you could like develop a real spark, real interest in something that like you didn't even know anything about, you didn't even know that you wanted to do it. Experience has exceeded all my expectations,
and I'm very grateful for this experience.
Be on the lookout for opportunities like this one.
It's never too late to start.
So I would advise that you could join this program and you would learn a lot. It's going to be really, really helpful as well.
All right, all right, all right. And we're so proud of those kids, man. Man, I get chills and goosebumps. It's amazing when you see younger generation. We want them to do better than us. It's really, really amazing what those kids have done. And they've put research papers together, documents together towards college application. We have referral for them. So just a way to kind of give them some exciting opportunities out there that we never had, so that's awesome. All right, so that's all we got for tonight. Thank you all for being part of our community. More to come. I look forward to seeing most of us in our upcoming program also August night, and enjoy the rest of the evening. My Kahoot winners, remember again, you need to send an email to info@skillway.com. Info@skillway.com. Let me make sure you say it again. You need to send it there. You know, um, somebody said, please, the names. Um, well, the names of the winners, you mean? If you are a winner, you will know now. That's good to know you're a winner. All right, let me tell you the names of the winners so that there's no confusion on the winners. All right, let's see the winners again. I'll tell you in a bit. All right, let me show you guys the winner. Let's see, view podium. All right, you know that I didn't cheat. These are the winners. Let me share it again so we can see the winners again. I promise you I didn't set it up. So the winners are, wait a minute. Are we right? Yeah. I think first place was, third place Yomi, second place Yak, and the winner was Manuel. So I'll share this with the larger group so that we can. But anyway, those are the winners. And send me an email. And I want to make sure if you guys don't send an email, then there's no way my team will get across to you. Thank you all. Good night and enjoy the rest of the weekend. God bless. Bye, everybody.
It sets minds alight. Skill with academy, where leaders are born. Embrace the tempo, let your dreams take storm. Rise up, leaders, let the beat guide your way. Unlock your potential, seize the day. From the dance floor to the boardroom, let your light shine, shine.